we go. Can you hear me now? Am I back?
Now I am back.
Okay.
Usually I get two bursts of poor performance and then it rights itself.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. So, okay. So, speed test. You both have one advantage die. That's just a regular old test. Let's run that now. So he's
Okay,
gonna
so
roll.
because my stride is close enough to his,
No, he has a better. He has a higher stride than you,
right?
so he gets
But
a
I have a
die,
longer
and you have a
weapon.
longer weapon. So he's gonna need to like jockey past that spear tip, but you're also slower than him. So the two of you are kind of like in a similar position.
So I should still roll 4 dice though.
You're gonna test your speed like normal, but add
Yep,
one
add one.
advantage die.
Yep,
Yeah, and he's also
cool.
rolling to add one advantage.
Makes sense.
All right,
I got a success.
I got two successes. Okay, so what we do then? So this
I
means that
won't spend any fate or anything this time
see,
around, but
you're disadvantaged because he's gotten position on you in this initial engagement. So we compare the weapons. He's got a sword, and you've got a spear, and that means for everything, all the attacks that you make,
mhm.
your attack, basic, special, shooting, basically all of your obstacles are increased by one for this first volley. Then
Yeah,
we'll
because I'm in
jockey
like
for
an
position again.
awkward.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, first thing that happens, the two of you face off, and he lunges forward, getting just inside your spear. You're staggering back, trying to stab him, and he's getting up in your business. So now you look at your reflexes, and this is how many actions that you get in the first exchange.
hmm.
So I believe you were tied on this one. He's got two.
I also have two.
Okay, good, excellent. All right. So you both have two that you can use. There are three volleys. So with B2 reflexes, you can do one action, nothing, nothing, one, one, or one, nothing, one, which is going to make this fight very dangerous if either of you attack while the other person's doing nothing.
Yes.
Right? So you're both a little slow. His disadvantage is that he's wearing leather armor, so anything to do with agility, his obstacle is increased by one. He's a little slower because his armor is kind of creaky and making it hard for him to
Mhm.
fight.
Whereas I have the ultra shitty Gambison or whatever, which barely.
Yeah, yours is like what, one die for your armor?
Well, yeah, one die everywhere except the torso, which gets two.
Oh, okay. So you actually both have the
Or
same armor.
wait, wait.
Yeah, double check your armor before we get into
Let me
this.
double check. I had to add it back in because we're actually, you know what? I'll just pull it because I don't have it anymore
Okay.
in canon, but I would have had it. But we're just gonna remove
This
it.
is just a dream. You're wearing your fancy. You're wearing your
I do
fancy
have a
equipment.
shield though. So does a
So
shield affect that?
yes, so you have a target shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a shield doesn't give you any armor. It gives you two extra dice on the block action.
Yeah.
So if you either put your shield up and hide behind it, or if you wait for them to come, block with your shield and then attack, any blocking action will get a +2. Now this
Okay, cool. So
dummy,
it makes me better at counterattacking and
yeah,
defending.
this dummy does not have a shield. He is clutching his longsword in one hand, and that frees him up a hand in case he wants to grab you. You know, you can't grab in this position, but also means he can't block. He doesn't have access to the block action. He can try to parry, but you got a big ass shield. Cool. Okay. So take a look at the deck of actions and think about what you might want to do. The most basic actions are avoid, which is you dodge. You attempt to dodge whatever's coming at you. Strike, which is you make an attack. You can also do some more complicated things like counter strike. Neither of you can lock and strike because you don't have big scary jaws. That's a sort of monster only one.
Mm-hmm.
Feint works more or less like it does in Mouse Guard. You can like lunge one way and hope that they try to defend. And then
Yes,
there are a few
or
there are a few that
disarm.
obviously we can ignore, like cast spell, drop spell, command spirit, sing, howl, or pray. Fall prone, run screaming, stand and drool, and swoon. Those are all
The steal actions.
actions you don't want to take if you have a
Yeah.
choice. The other thing that is an option for you, and this shouldn't come up too much with these characters, but if you script an action, if it hasn't been revealed yet, you can drop an action to change one of your existing ones. So if you do nothing and then have two actions left, you can sacrifice your third action to change your second or vice versa. It's just as
Yeah,
long as
but
it hasn't been
before
revealed.
I see what you're
Yes,
doing.
before we reveal. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is predominantly for you get hit in the face on the first action, and then you're like, shit, I need to script 2 avoids.
Yeah.
So you lose one and then script the other. Okay, so these should. I'm just going to drag one to the table and see. They should place face down. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so let's see what he would do. Another great thing about being able to do this in a kind of non-canon environment is that we don't have to worry too much about, like, oops, I didn't know how this system worked and now my character's dead.
Now the rooster is dead.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, and are we going from left to right or right to left?
We'll go left, same as we do for mouse guard, so left to right.
Left to right. Okay, cool.
But you should. Okay, yeah, and also draw one of the cards that says no action and place that in, so we know which one you're not taking an action in. Okay, I think I've got Sir Not So Good with a sword. I think he's ready. I think I know what he's gonna do. So remember, he's got you at a bit of a disadvantage. Whatever you do is going to have a +1 obstacle, and and you're basically going to come at each other. Now, by default, you are in you're in a neutral stance. Neutral stance affords no advantage or disadvantage, but if you take the change stance action, you can go into aggressive stance or defensive stance, and they give you bonuses to avoiding, blocking, counter-striking, that kind of thing if you're in defensive stance, but it makes it harder for you to attack. And then same with aggressive. And one thing that as you learn the fight system and as you use it more, if you want to, you can write an instinct that says whenever a fight starts, drop into defensive stance so that you always begin ready to block and parry.
Well, are you ready, Adam?
I am so ready. I'm ready. Sir not very good at fighting is ready to see if he will live up to his name. Let's blow these cards up and see what happens. All right, so he lunges forward at you. You know, you burst into the mill. This peasant warrior with a sword lunges at you with his like rusty sword and gets just inside spear range. And then what happens? He's going to avoid. He's going to rethink his life. Okay, so what happens here is we compare as usual. And you can use either the fight interactions handouts that I've got in here, or if you look on the card itself, it has some basic detail. Right? Yeah. So let's take a quick look here. You are. I think nothing happens. I think that he avoids, and there's no attack to counter.
Because Counter-Strike requires that.
Counter-Strike requires the strike. Yeah.
Well, he really faked me out because I was just like, okay, well, if he's coming at me.
Counter-Strike versus Avoid, nothing happens. So you're ready for the attack that doesn't come. He comes lunging in and he's like, never mind, and like kind of like leaps back a little bit. The two of you are like batting at each other's weapons, but he doesn't muster up the guts to attack. So let's see what happens on the next beat. Okay, now he's gonna attack. Now he's ready.
Okay, well I'm also ready.
Oh, look at you. All right, so ready to Counter-Strike still, shield up. So in this case, this is what you want.
Yeah, he's just like in the doorway, like keeping him from getting away, and I'm just like, I got you cornered. I'm just gonna like bleed you out.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so Counter-Strike versus Strike. It's defense from skill versus skill. So if we take a look at Counter-Strike, because yours is the more complicated action of the two, I think you let him attack you, and then we see what happens. Let's take a look. And I think you're going to get bonuses from your... Here we go. Okay. Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike tests your weapon, brawling, or boxing skill. After actions are revealed, but before your opponent rolls, you divide your fighting skill and any advantages into 2 pools. One for defense, one for attack. He attacks, you use up your defense action, and then he finishes. So it's a bit like doing a Counter-Strike and a strike at the same time. or a strike.
Defend and a strike.
Defend and a strike at the same time. Yeah. So in a versus test, use the defense portion against his attack. Successes from your defense reduce his successes. The attack portion counts as a regular strike. However, the strike portion of Counter-Strike doesn't suffer disadvantage from weapon length or vying for position, which is awesome. So you know that you're at a bad range for him. You have to get him in, and he, he's going to attack with his sword, and then you knock him back right into range, and you can stab him.
And then stab him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, before I roll, you figure out what you want to divide
What my
your
allocation
pool
is.
into.
And so I get my dice for my shield.
Yes, you'll get 2. I
Plus
think
my
so.
spear
Let
skill.
me double check because it might just be on block, but I want to be totally sure.
I was kind of banking on getting the shield
I think
dice,
you do. I'm almost certain you do. But then there's also block and strike, which is a different action.
thing.
Yeah, which might be the one you intended, if that's the case. So I'm just double checking. So shield, nope. Shields add their dice to block and counter strike. It's the first dot in the note.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So
interesting. Versus armor reduces the number of shield dice rolled to defend. He doesn't have any VA, but someone with a mace would go through your shield into you.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then if you roll a 1, on your shield dice, so roll them separately. If you roll a 1 on your shield dice, it causes damage to the shield, same way as it does armor.
Yeah. Just like with armor. Okay, so I need to figure out my total pool, and then I divide it.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So
shield,
let's figure out
2%
your total pool.
for total 4. Is this guy a soldier? Can I use soldier wise?
Yes, he's a soldier. So you're starting with spear at 2, right?
Yeah.
And then soldier wise gives you another 1 to fork. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to fork?
Me 2, so I'm at 5.
Well, wait. You do the shield later. The shield gets added to whatever half you split.
Oh, I see. So I don't get to just put the 2 shield dice. I would have to put at least 1 die plus. Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe because this involves like shoving him away with the shield, can I fork in brawling or boxing?
Yes, you can almost always fork brawling and boxing into any like attack roll.
Okay, great. So that puts me at
This guy's gonna get fucked up.
4 dice then, because I've got 2 forks and the 2 special dice. Okay.
Okay, so you got 4 dice. How do you want to split them?
Good. I'll do 1 to blocking and 3 to attacking.
Okay. All right. So
I can basically get 3 dice.
3 and 3. Yeah. Okay. So now I roll his attack, and then you roll it to defend, and then
I just roll spear at 3 dice twice.
yeah. Now I guess the risk of counterattack of counter strike is that if he hits you, then you got to do steal, and you might hesitate and not get to get to counter.
Yeah, you're banking on your block working.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I've got 4 dice total. No modifiers. No Eartha. Obviously, this guy's a nobody. Okay, I got 3 successes. All right, so he comes in strong. Heavy overhanded swing, trying to like push past your shield and bury his sword in your chest.
But whatever.
Whatever. Okay, so yeah, he lunges at you, like roaring. Maybe that first avoid, he's like, and then he's like, for the homeland, and like rushes you and takes this overhand swing. How do you defend? What does it look like? Is this like a shield in the face or?
Yeah, I think like I kind of like bait him into attacking me. And so, yeah, I like sidestep. Like he thinks I'm going to like stay stuck in the door. So instead I just kind of like step out the door.
Okay.
And like knock his sword aside as I'm doing it and then lunge back in and try to stab at him.
Nice. Okay, so now you can make your strike with the remaining dice that you have.
Okay, cool. Spear. Modifiers 1. I get a success.
Okay, so you get a success, which means you tag him with the business end of your spear, and he's gonna take a wound if his armor doesn't help him. Now, the way that the wounds work is the person doing the attacking doesn't get to pick where they hit. The person being attacked picks, and then you use the stat that's called add on your weapon to make the attack more painful or move it around. So by default, you're dealing him. Well, let's roll his armor. Let's see if his armor blocks the attack.
Because his armor is even everywhere in his body.
No, he's got 2 armor in the chest, but you only got 1 success, which means you just hit him. You don't have enough. Like what's the add on your spear?
The add is 2.
Yeah, so you don't have 2 successes to move the hit.
Right.
You just have one. So you take the hit wherever you get it. So you hit him in the chest as he goes by. He's got 2 dice on his armor, but his armor is crap, basically. So if I roll 1s on any of these dice, the armor gets worse. So let's see. No, he absorbs the blow. So you tag him, and his armor takes the hit for him, and he stumbles forward. All right, he turns around, and I'm pretty sure I know how this last volley goes. And you both don't have the reflexes to fight each other, so you just like turn around. He's breathing hard, you're breathing hard, and now
there's more like jockeying.
Yeah, now you've jockeyed for position again. So it's the exact same test. It's a speed test. You both still have +1 advantage. Okay, I got 1 modifier.
3 this time.
Nothing. Okay, so you've got a spear and he's got a sword. So now you have much better advantage in this case. So because you've got him at the end of your spear, he is at a penalty of, let's see, spear versus sword +2 ob.
Right, yeah, because he's 2 layers out.
Yeah. So now he's like rushed past you, and even though you didn't get him as he went by, now he's standing out in the field, and you've got the mill to your back, and he's quite far away. So he's gonna have to try to like get in close to be able to hit you with his sword effectively. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's at 2 ob disadvantage. So now we got to choose our actions.
Yes. Okay.
Let's see here. What does he want to do? I kind of just want to go ham with this dude.
What does he have to lose?
Well, and the great thing is that all of this is dictated by what we know about the characters. So you're going to be like, even just like everywhere else in the game, you look at your characters' beliefs and instincts to know how they would fight. Like Basil's going to fight very differently, even though he's using the same mechanics. Then I was going to say differently than the Rooster, but you're actually both kind of dirtbags.
The 2 of us, yeah, actually, that's
I think you both fight like jerks.
Yeah, totally. Both are ruthless.
Yeah, Alex, spear is this spear is longer range. So actually it's a short spear, so it's more like a polearm. So he's actually only a +1 ob. I forgot that it was a one-handed spear.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Fake Alex Blue, always in there with the rules assistance. Okay, so yeah, now he can always try to disengage if he wants to run away. That can be one of his actions, but I don't think he's ready yet. He's got to defend his homeland against these interlopers. Okay, I know what he's going to do. This may result in his death, but...
I am going to cast a spell.
Exactly, yeah. Turns out he's a wizard. I forgot to tell you about that. That's why he's not so good with a sword.
Yeah, because he is a secret wizard.
He's a secret wizard. You cast Crucio and you die.
Wingardium Leviosa.
I was looking through the book last night, polishing up on the rules, and I stopped in the magic section. I forgot there's a magic whistle spell. Yep, you shoot a single firework that whistles and then pops and explodes. It's very impressive. Okay, all right.
And you still run the risk of summoning a demon by accident when you cast it.
So you've pushed him. You've pushed him back a little bit. He's at the end of your spear. You're ready to poke him, and then what happens? He goes ape and he's gonna charge you.
I try to intimidate him.
Awesome. So he like hypes himself up. He's like, and like runs at you, but you're also gonna intimidate him. So let's see how intimidate interacts with charge tackle. So social actions, intimidate. Using the intimidation skill on another character in melee costs 2 actions, so it's got to be your whole round.
Okay, great.
And using the intimidation against a charge. Use this obstacle for. Oh, okay. So he's gonna charge against an obstacle of half of your speed while you intimidate him. So you're trying to dodge out of the way while you're like berating him.
Yeah, and I get my advantage still, right?
The advantage counts. Yeah, your advantage counts for everything in the fight.
Cool.
which is awesome.
So it'll be half my speed plus 1.
So intimidate
Yeah.
for folks who who are watching along at home, intimidate takes 2 actions because it takes time to intimidate a person. You're like yelling at him and shouting at him to give up, trying to cause essentially him to hesitate, in which case he may lose actions all the way into the next volley. So this will be your turn doing this intimidate, and if you don't succeed, I'll get to do whatever my other thing is. But if
Then
you
I'll still be
do,
running my mouth at him.
you'll be running your mouth at him. But it takes place. Well, let's see if you dodge the charge first.
Yeah.
He's gonna charge you, and his obstacle is half your speed, rounded up, I think. Let me double check.
Cool. So then it's initially 2 plus the 1.
Yeah, because he's got a higher obstacle. What's your speed? Your speed is 2, right?
My speed is 3.
Your speed is 3, so it drops down, goes up to 2.
1.5 to 2 to 3.
Okay, all right. So he's got an Ob 3 charge test ahead of him. He's got to test his power. Unfortunately, his power is shit. So just like the rest of him. So what might very well happen here is that he just falls down, and then you yell at him on the ground.
That sounds perfect.
Sounds perfect. That's exactly what you want.
I'm picturing this as being very like disdainful dialogue from Rooster too. Just like,
what are you doing, fool? Yeah. Okay, so let me check here. Where's charge? Counter strike, charge tackle. Okay, your power with a 1 die advantage plus stride advantage. Okay, so that'll help him. If you charge, you attempt to knock your opponent down but remain on your feet. If you tackle, you try to take your opponent down with you. If you win the versus test by 1 or meet your obstacle in a standard test, you stagger your opponent. If you win the versus test by 2 or exceed your obstacle, you knock them down. If you successfully charge, you also take advantage for your hands or whatever other weapon you're holding. If you tackle, you take advantage of the hands. So he's going to try to charge you. Basically, puts his shoulder down. He's going to try to smash into you, knock you down, and then stab you to death while you're on the ground.
Yeah.
However, let's see how that goes. So he's got 4 dice. He's got 1 advantage for the fact that it's a charge, and then another one because you have a gimp leg. I don't feel good about his chances here. I got to get 3 of these 4 dice as successes. I mean, I'm pretty good at RPGs, but...
You say that, but yeah, here you go.
Oh, shit. Only 1. All right. So I tested it at Ob 1. It should have been Ob 3, obviously. But regardless, he futzes it up real bad. So if you fail this action, you give your opponent the advantage and lose your next action. So what does this look like, Rooster?
He like charges at me as I'm starting to like berate, just be like, what do you think is going to happen here? And he like charges at me, and I just like lean into him with my shield and knock him aside.
It just bounces off your shield.
Awesome. It's not going to work. Just give up.
What a good.
And yeah, like Rooster's taking the approach of just like, you're so beneath me, I don't even want to fight you. I'm just going to tell you to give up.
Right. You're like, yeah, nice charge, loser.
Yeah, like you're shit.
Okay, so he failed. He's a big old failure. And you get to now intimidate him. So the intimidation obstacle is his will, which is a startling 2. You use the intimidation skill, and if you're successful, I have to make a steel test.
And I still get my advantage die, right?
Your advantage die from
the positional advantage. Like he's more intimidated because I'm in a good striking position.
No. That gives him obstacle penalties, not
not
the other you bonuses. Yeah,
it doesn't double up. Okay.
Yeah, it just makes it harder for him.
But he's a soldier. So
yes, but he's a soldier. So you know how to intimidate a soldier, right?
Yeah.
You've been to boot camp before.
So my ob is 2.
Okay.
I'm rolling my Gray Shade Intimidation 3 with a fork.
Oh my god, he's so screwed. All right, so
there we go. I did it.
You succeed. Now he has to make a steel test. Steel test means that I just roll, and every success that I have take away from the hesitation of 8 that he begins with.
Yeah, your base hesitation, right?
Yeah. So, Mother of God,
What's
here we go. His steel is 5. So I got Okay, I got 3 successes. So
Yeah, because you rolled a 6. Yeah.
I have to script for the next 5 actions. Okay, so here we go. So a character can hesitate due to a failed steal test, a failed charge, or as the result of a spell or other special effect. When they must hesitate, a player may choose how he hesitates unless the effect is specified. There are 4 options: stand and drool, fall prone and beg for mercy, run screaming, and swoon. You can only choose one option when hesitating. If you hesitate for a complete volley, you give up your advantage in positioning. If you're hesitating at the start of an exchange, you can only disengage if you're running screaming. Other hesitation options count as let him come. So, neither of you have actions because he loses his next one, right? We flip it. He wasn't going to take an action, and then he loses his avoid. Yeah, and then you couldn't strike anyway because you were intimidating. So this whole round, nothing happens. And his hesitation drops by 2. So that means he's down to
the whole next round.
The entire next volley.
3.
Yes. So now I have to decide exactly what he does, whether he's going to run or is like paralyzed with fear. And now again, this would be based on what I think the character would choose to do. Tactically, obviously, like I would never begrudge a player for being like, I run. When, like we would be like, oh, well, that character would never run.
Death is on the line.
Death is on the line. Like things change. You ignore instincts and beliefs when you might get killed. So now I got to choose for him whether he stands and drools, runs screaming, or swoons, or falls prone, I guess. So we don't make a test for it. For positioning, because you have the positioning.
Yeah.
Right.
I can be where I want.
Yep. Now you also have the option here to, like, I would argue if you took the intimidate action again or something like that, you could be like, just give up and like try to get him to quit the fight altogether.
Yeah. That's no fun.
But that's no fun.
I already did that action.
Exactly. That was what the intimidate was. So you automatically have, he has a +1 ob to anything he tries to do. And he is going to, well, let's see. Let's flip that first card. Obviously, surprising no one. Okay, so Great Strike, you have to set up the Great Strike first. So Great Strike takes 2 actions.
Oh, I thought I did it right away, but didn't get to do anything else.
Well, let's double check. So
I think I am wrong.
And this is why we test, right? This is why we do the practice. So there's 2 kinds of striking, right? There's Great Strike and Regular Strike. Regular Strike is just you make an attack. Great Strike, you have to set first. So,
why didn't he just plead for mercy?
I know, right? You were hoping he'd drop to his knees and you could put the sword up over your head and or I guess spear
obviously. Him. That's so cinematic.
All right, so versus test, we got that. Let's see. Great Strike, here we go. So Great Strike costs 2 action. On the first action, you take a breath to set up. You're effectively defenseless. You count as stand and drool. Then on your second action, you finish the strike. So, I mean, he might not be able to disengage far enough for you not to Great Strike him anyway. So the run screaming it counts as a disengage.
Actually, that's a real question.
Yeah, so there's a question here.
Throwing spear a strike action?
No, throwing the spear would be like using a missile weapon. So here's what happens if
throw object slash weapon.
If he runs screaming for 3 actions and manages to disengage from the fight, you could still be like, cool, we're out of melee range. I throw the spear into his back, and we would just make a spear test, and then he'd probably die anyway.
Great. Okay, that's the plan.
So if you can't Great Strike him now, then we'll see. He's gonna try to disengage, so he's gonna try and
this
run.
Is like an opposed speed thing.
Nothing happens on this first one, so he like basically auto succeeds. But on the second action, if he doesn't get far enough away, then you get to Great Strike him. So poor bastard. All right, run screaming. Drops what he's holding, so he throws his sword to the ground, turns about, and bolts for the exit.
Is it like a scene out of No Country for Old Men or something?
He doesn't have access to his weapon length. Here we go. Okay, so it automatically succeeds. So this counts as the disengage action. So let's take a quick look here.
A very cool car just went by. I'm sorry for the noise.
It's okay. That was him running away.
He gets in his Porsche and drives away.
He jumps in his Ferrari and away he goes. Here we go. Okay, so test speed with a +1 die advantage, plus advantages from stride and positioning advantage or disadvantage. You must win the test. If you're successful, oh my god. So you do get to chase him? Unless you're standing and drooling, so it's not. Yeah, if you were doing anything, you would just get to run after him, but you're like getting ready to spear him. So I test against nothing. And
But you are at a disadvantage.
I am at a disadvantage. When you disengage, let's see. If you're successful, you retreat out of range of your opponent's attacks. Okay, so he might get away, unless I really flub this roll.
You know you want to flub this roll.
He might is the thing. So I've got speed of 2. I have a 1 modifier because advantage, but the obstacle it is a 1 ob because it goes from 0 to 1 because he doesn't have advantage here. He's still like in spearing range. So obstacle 1. There's a chance I might not get this. He gets away. Okay, so you intimidate him, and he's like, "Oh no!" and throws the sword aside, turns around, and just hightails it away from you. This ends the fight. This breaks the fight. Now, if you wanted to, this would be where we go into the next test. So I'd be like, okay, the fight's over. He flees from you. He gets outside spear range. What do you want to do?
I throw my spear out.
You hurl the spear into his back. So figure 4, you can't chase while readying Great Strike because Great Strike counts as stand and drool.
Yeah, you have.
So you're just like
waste your action.
Getting ready. This is like if you're playing Dark Souls and you're using like a really heavy weapon. It takes a second for you to like get it up over your head, and in that time, someone can poke you, or in this case, run away. So the fight is over. He turns around. He's like, "Oh God, no!" and he runs. So let's test his speed. He's like dodging back and forth, trying to get away, versus your spear throwing ability.
Great.
Now he's double all because he's testing a stat against a skill. So why don't you roll first?
Great.
See if you can hit him in the back.
Okay, he's a soldier.
He's a soldier. Yep.
Can I fork an intimidation because I have scared him off?
I think that's working against you in this case.
Okay. Yeah, then I think I just get 1 extra die.
Okay.
Actually, no. Can I fork in dirty fighting wise as well?
Hell yes. You're throwing a spear into a man's back.
Thank you. I knew I built my character.
So you like get ready to stab him. He runs off and you're just like, nah.
He's gonna die tired.
Okay. So, yeah. All right, you go. You got 1 success. So I need to get 2 successes on his speed test.
So, by the way, it's a 6, and I would totally spend fate on this.
Yeah, of course you would. All right, so it's a dream. You can't spend fate in dreams. Let's test it. Okay, base ob 2.
The one that got away.
Oh, he got away. He escapes. He just runs screaming into the night. And you have to go collect your spear. So this would be the part where, like, probably part of that failure, I could give you what you want, but complicate it and be like, cool, yeah, your spear embeds itself in his spine, drops him to the ground, he dies. And this is when you hear his friend come up behind you and try to, bash you with his mace, and it would jump into another fight, but you wouldn't have your spear, and you have to start by drawing a weapon, right? So you can drop one fight into another like that and kind of go in and out of fight mode. We won't test this today because I think it's even a little more complicated than we're ready for. But you can have multiple combatants fighting each other. So you pick who you're targeting your actions against. So you could be like, I'm going to strike him.
Chaotic.
I'm going to strike him. I'm going to block and strike him. And then I'm going to push that guy. So you can kind of like jump around in doing that. It's very hard. Like a single swordsman, even with a high reflex against multiple weaker foes, eventually kind of gets dragged down because you end up with no actions while someone else is pummeling you with their sword.
But you can reenact Jackie Chan movies.
Yes, you definitely can. It's true. Cool. Okay. Well, do you wanna take a quick break? We'll take 5 and then we'll come back and do another one.
I'm all tired out from ineffectually stabbing at that dude.
We'll try some different weapons and we'll fight against some other people. We'll see if Lady Slightly More Formidable can hold up against the Rooster's onslaught. Stick around. We'll be back with more bloody fighting when we return.